Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. I was just talking to a friend of mine before, and the Christian as well, and I said, listen, it's 1 week to go to Christmas. Just doesn't feel like it. But here we are, right? So, the time to make big calls in the market for 2025 is certainly wearing down. It's a great time of year to reflect a little bit on how one handled the year 2025, what might be something one can improve upon. So that's usually what the last couple of weeks of the year are good for. And then as we head into January, it is important to understand, in my experience over the past 26 years, that just because the calendar turns to a new month, a new year, it doesn't mean that all of a sudden markets are different, right? There's all sorts of surprises that can happen in the month of January. It can be really boring, it can be super bullish, and it can be very bearish. Like, I've seen it all with complete randomness, right? So January, I'll warn you right now, is a very difficult month to trade. I think it's a great month to kind of get the portfolios ready, reshuffle some things, allocate properly, and really focus more on quicker trades than trying to have some staunch views that may not work. Good morning, everybody. Again, happy Wednesday. It is December the 17th here. As I said, even I can do the math. December 17th plus 7 gets you 24. So that means 1 week from today is Christmas Eve, I should say. So basically the point is markets are going to start slowing down dramatically over the next couple of days. We do have triple witching options expiration that's going to take place on Friday. Tomorrow, today's Wednesday, right? So in 2 days. I wouldn't be surprised if markets get a little bit choppier after that. Now, if you look at your screen, I ran a little poll. We are running a little poll right now, actually. And the question was, and maybe you've already participated in the poll. If you haven't, I'd love to see you participate as well. The question in the poll, it's in the chat box, is the S&P 500, is it going to be higher or lower on December 31st when we when is the last trading day this year? Is it the 31st? Yeah, I guess so. I don't even know if the markets are open on it's a mirage, this whole sort of Christmas to New Year's thing. I think for a lot of people it is. There's actually an English comedian, if you guys has anyone heard of Michael McIntyre? Before we get started, let me know if you've heard of Michael McIntyre. He's this English comedian. He's absolutely hilarious. I find him funny, at least. He does this bit about this really confusing time between Christmas and New Year's where people don't know what day it is. Is the post office open? Is like all those kind of things, and it's so true. Anyway, I digress. But what was I going? Now I forgot what I was going to say. What the hell was I talking about? Oh, the poll, right? So the poll basically is here to kind of see what you guys are thinking. And the poll, as you can see there, it's basically asking, do you think the S&P will be higher or lower by December 31st than it is right now? So far, 67% of you think the S&P is going to be higher. And of course, the balance, 33%, think it's lower. Okay? So thanks for Daily Trader confirming to us that the U.S. equity markets are open December 31st. I don't know why they have it open that day. No one's around. It's mostly machines and a few bored retail traders trading with each other. I would highly encourage everyone to do very little to nothing between Christmas and New Year. It is really not worth it. Like, you might be able to pick up a few pennies here or there, but it's really not worth it. It's in the grand scheme of things, right? It's a better time to wind down. At least it is for me and I think most professionals as well. So don't let boredom turn into an actionable catalyst. If you're sitting around after Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever you celebrate, or anything, bored after eating too much food, and you see the market's open, do not let that be a catalyst to go to the computer and knock out a trade because of that. And a lot of people do, to be honest with you, and it's usually a complete waste of time. You would be probably better off just reading a book about anything other than or pretty much do anything other than trading, right? Read a book, study, look at your portfolio if you must in the big picture, not your trading account, but your actual portfolio. Make sure that thing's got its I's dotted and is in good position. So anyway, let's see. The poll is still 67%. I think the S&P is higher. 33% I think it's lower. Let's see here, and I'm going to end the poll right now. Okay, so this was just a bit of a fun bit. Do you guys like these polls? There you go. Perfect. Okay. All right. Well, let's see here. Let's talk about some things here today. So there's a couple of things I'd like to point out. We're going to start with the transports, and then we're going to look at the commodity chart. We are going to look at the Bitcoin versus NASDAQ 100 chart. And I do want to point out Microsoft and NVIDIA, which actually may be something. Let's just start with that, okay? So in our ETF Silo Pro market portfolio, we actually added the NASDAQ 100 QQQ ETF, I think I'm going to say a week ago or something like that, to the bullish side. But what has happened since, and we actually are removing the NASDAQ 100 from our ETF Silo Pro mock portfolio, we are removing the QQQs for one very simple reason, and that has to do with, if I could show it to you here, all right? It's because of this. So NVIDIA, this is our trender momentum indicator. It's a bit of an unfortunate name. People always tell us it should be called just momentum indicator. I know, I don't disagree. But this is a chart of NVIDIA. It's a daily chart, and you can see that momentum started turning south. So basically, momentum for NVIDIA since November 17th is now bearish. Now, you might recall that NVIDIA is a big part of the NASDAQ 100. You know what else is a big part of the NASDAQ 100? Microsoft, okay? And Microsoft, too, has bearish momentum since the 5th of November, okay? That's here. And so both of these stocks have not been able to make even marginal higher lows. They're actually making lower highs, not dramatic, but definitely not higher highs or higher lows. And so we decided to get rid of the NASDAQ 100. Now, the NASDAQ 100 itself still has marginally bullish momentum, but these major weights have basically come off. Now, on top of that, if you just want to doodle some lines, and we spent quite a bit of time on this yesterday, for those people that joined us yesterday, we did talk about this. This is just technical, right? But it's worth noting that NVIDIA basically has a head and shoulders topping pattern. Does not have to be anything catastrophic. So I think as long as NVIDIA remains bearish momentum, which is the primary factor we look at, and certainly as long as it stays below 185-ish, we would not want to be adding to this. Now, that can change. You know, we live in the day and age of quantitatively driven markets, basically meaning automated markets. And so if that were to change, we would probably reposture the upside. But for right now, it's not. And I should also remind you, for everyone that's bullish on TV about NVIDIA, just to remind them that NVIDIA is today at the same exact levels it was on July 28th. So that's August 28th, September 28th, October 28th, November 28th, and about a half a month. So we're talking about 4.5 months of, right? You wouldn't believe that if you pulled up the headlines because everyone's so damn bullish all the time. Now, there's a lot of stuff to be bullish on, by the way. It's probably not NVIDIA, at least not right now. Let's look at the sector performance, which is one thing that sparked me to do the poll earlier. And so let me just quickly take you guys through the sector performance. And we talked about this. We started talking about this in early October as we head into the fourth quarter. And we talked about the risk that the markets do not rally into the end of the year, right? Not because we want to be bearish, but because of sentiment. I had never seen, and I still have not seen, more people unanimously bullish without question in the fourth quarter than I saw this year. So as we came into October, we polled a bunch of people and we followed some other polls. I had never seen as many people bullish unanimously for the fourth quarter, for the balance of the year, than I saw then. And here is the fact, okay? Unless you were long healthcare, you're basically flat right now in terms of performance. Now, we are obviously long healthcare in ETF Sala Pro. That's our sector and group rotation mock portfolio. I know most people are not. Most people are long tech, and they're probably also long tech. Oh, and they're tech, right? So there's a big difference between fundamental and structural reality. But and a big and a stock price, right? So that is the reality of flat returns basically in the fourth quarter. If you were to look at the S&P 500 itself, okay, the S&P 500 itself for the quarter is now. I should probably add it here. Give me 1 second. Let me add it here quickly. Okay, so the S&P 500 is now, for the quarter, it is, why am I not, oh, here. Okay, for the quarter, the S&P is now up a whopping 1.9%, right? Again, unless you were long gold, or really silver, actually, palladium and platinum, you are not having a good quarter, despite the fact that everyone and their mother and everyone on CNBC told you very clearly that the markets. Now, we have 2 weeks left in the year, right? The question is it going to be a 5% rally or is it going to be 1 or 2% rally? I don't know. What I do know is that the last 2 weeks of the year are just a dumb time to do a lot of stuff in the market. Now, Rick is pointing out that both NVIDIA and Microsoft are green on the rover. That is correct, my friend. However, the trouble is you are mixing trend from momentum, right? So NVIDIA is in a bullish trend. That's a trend, okay? Does anyone here remember what our definition of trend is? Okay, I'll tell you. The definition of trend is multi-quarter plus at least multiple quarters of duration. That's the trend. So NVIDIA is not bearish trend. It is bearish momentum. Momentum is a few days, a few weeks to maybe a few months of time frame. The trend remains bullish in NVIDIA. The trend, right? That's your investment time horizon of at least a few quarters. But not momentum. Momentum is the shorter term stuff, right? Same thing for Microsoft, as you point out correctly, Rick, right? So Microsoft is bullish the trend, right? Still green. That's your multi-quarter, but not momentum. Those are two hugely different parts. If you need more clarification on that, Rick, please reach out to our team. That is a fundamental. In fact, it is, and I'm actually working on a long-form video right now, trying to explain to people what the number one source of losses are or underperformance on people's portfolios, and it's mostly, by a wide margin, due to the fact that people do not differentiate between momentum and trend. And I've yet to find one of those 25-year-old, no money, no experience YouTube traders out there to tell you what that difference, because they don't know it themselves, right? So make sure you choose your sources wisely. I'm not a better person for it, but I've done it for a long time. And you learn over time that there is a difference between short-term momentum. That's like your reacceleration of speed, right? Reacceleration, and then the actual trend. They're two completely different things, and we need to understand and respect what they are. If you need more clarification, join us in the member sessions for those products, and of course, reach out to the team if you need more help, okay? So now we've talked about a couple things here around Microsoft and NVIDIA. Hopefully this is helpful. I do need to now talk about transportation stocks a little bit. Now, if you were here over the past couple of weeks, you know we've talked a lot about transportation stocks. We talked about IYT, an ETF, and some other ETFs similar that were looking promising for higher highs on breakouts, and lo and behold, that's now been taking place. Now, there's one stock in particular that I will point out here, okay, and that is United Airlines. That's typically my airline of choice. It's not an advertisement. I'm just making conversation here. So United Airlines actually had a breakout, scored a breakout on a daily closing basis yesterday. And of course, yesterday was Tuesday, the 16th of December. So it scored a breakout. Well done. Momentum, though, typically needs to be caught earlier than simple linear, doodling kind of breakouts. So for those of you guys that are using our momentum indicator, which is called the trend or momentum indicator, again, a bit of an unfortunate name because it tends to, people tend to struggle with that. But here is the reality. If you use momentum in a smart way versus using momentum with what I call chart chasing techniques, right? Now, you might notice, again, I showed you before, United Airlines had this breakout yesterday. That's this. Let me just make sure. Okay, let me see this. Does everyone see this here? Right? This is the breakout on the daily chart of United Airlines, right? Now, let me go back to our momentum indicator. Our momentum indicator gave us a buy signal on the 26th of November. So that is 10.5% ago. So instead of chasing the breakout, which now everyone is trying to do, and we'll see how well that works out for them, the true momentum actually came into the market, by our definition, on the 26th of November. Because you have to think about this. In order for a breakout to happen, people have to, definitionally, there has to be enough buying pressure before the breakout happens in order for the breakout to happen in the first place. Does that make sense? Give me a quick yes if that makes sense to everybody. And it's so damn important to understand that. Let me just repeat this one more time. In order for a breakout to happen like we had happening in United Airlines, you need buying pressure to actually build up way ahead of that. So that's why I'm so against chasing breakouts. I'm not saying they never work. They can work, and they often actually do. The problem is they don't go linear, right? And then people get chopped up and they lose money, and it's a huge pain in the ass, right? So true momentum in United Airlines didn't start happening yesterday. They started on the 26th of November. What about Tesla? How many people received a phone call or an email or were told 910 times on TV yesterday that Tesla is breaking out, right? Tesla was up another 3% yesterday. It was up 3.5% the day before. Okay, let me bring up the absolute chart. Okay, so now you have this chart. Looks exactly like United Airlines, by the way, right? So here's the Tesla breakout, right? So you probably got a whole bunch of emails this morning from a bunch of what I call underwear traders, right? That are now telling you that there's a breakout, and that's true. The problem is that in order for the breakout to happen, there had to be buying pressure way before then. So this is why we use an actual true momentum indicator. It's called the trend or momentum indicator. And we received the buy signal not yesterday, not the day before, but on December 3rd, right? And since then, you can see Tesla is now up 9, call it almost 10%, right? Not only that, but we are already, or this signal is already in what's called a free trade. We call it the free profit target is those green dotted lines. So we're now already in a position where this trade can no longer lose money, right? In fact, it's probably difficult for it to not make money, period, right? Now, two things. If you do not have the trend or momentum indicator yet, let me make sure that you have a chance to get it. I'm going to quickly give you a link where you can go grab it. It's only $397 for the full year. You can use it on things like TradingView. You can use it on Thinkorswim and a bunch of stuff like that. So I'm just putting the link into the chat box right now. Go grab it. We'll make it available here for you guys that are listening right now. And also, if you want to learn about momentum, right, make sure you join us in our session today. We're doing another educational session about momentum, right? So if you're getting excited about the breakout in Tesla and United Airlines today, notice that the breakout is a result, as I said before, of momentum actually building up a week, 2 weeks before. So if you're now chasing momentum, you're late to the party. It's not that it can't go higher, but the reward to risk is a whole lot worse now than it was when the signal actually came. Does that make sense? Right? So if you want to learn more about this, join us in our educational session today. In fact, Christian put in the link before. I'm going to bring it up again quickly. We do a weekly educational session. We call it strategy session. And that strategy session is today. It's at like, I think 1 p.m. Yeah, 1 Eastern. So that is 8 o'clock Pacific. And also, by the way, for signing up for the session, which is free, educational, you are also going to get access to our Rethinking the S&P 500 ebook, which is a pretty big, bold prediction for 2026. So I look forward to seeing you guys there. I know we went a bit long today, but thanks for being here. Please give us a thumbs up, like on all the videos, and subscribe to the channel. It's totally free. We're going to go guns blazing here on YouTube starting early January. So we look forward to having you guys there. Also, if you are a TradeOps member, make sure you log into Slack and check out a chart I posted on Oracle this morning. They just got pulled funding from Blue Owl. As I wrote this morning, probably nothing. Please note the sarcasm. So we'll continue that conversation over in TradeOps as well. We'll be back here tomorrow for one more set the market for the week, and then we're going to go much slower. We'll probably do no set the markets between Christmas and New Year, because why? Yeah, hopefully we'll see you guys at 1 o'clock today. Again, if you want to learn more about momentum that I just described, it's a free strategy session. If you want to get the trender indicator, I dropped the link in the chat box as well. So thanks for being here. Again, please give us a thumbs up, like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you back here tomorrow morning. Thanks for being here.